Hi, my name is Lillian, and this is my Adobe Express project. So for my first milestone, the person I found that influenced me was Dr. Kay Redfield because she helped break down the stigma in her memoir, An Unquiet Mind. And she also got her PhD from UCLA, where she won numerous awards and honors for her work. The location that is ideal for me to become a child psychiatrist in is Bar Harbor, Maine, because not only is it beautiful, it has a significant shortage of mental health professionals, particularly those specializing in pediatric care. For my personal statement, my motivation to become a child psychiatrist stems from my deep passion for mental health advocacy. And my biggest influence is my mom, because she always told me that education should be my #1 priority, and she supports me emotionally and financially throughout my journey. So I really want to graduate and let her see me walk the stage as a first-generation college student. And my goal is to graduate from UTSA, go to medical school, and eventually become a doctor to help bridge the gap between those who can afford healthcare and those who can't. So for my second milestone, it was about our interviews that we did in class with our classmates. And during the interview, I was pretty calm because I learned a lot from my high school speech teacher. And for this activity, I thought it was really fun and helpful because in college, I feel like not a lot of classes focus on interviews and resumes and stuff for the future. So I thought this was pretty helpful. And as an interviewer, I realized that I can improve by asking more open-ended questions instead of just yes or no, just to learn more about the candidate. And as an interviewee, I could have worked on my body language and had more confidence. And I thought in the future, learning from this process, I could have more follow-up questions, especially in the end. A lot of the times, people ask, oh, do you have any questions for us? And so I thought that I should have some of those prepared. And overall, this experience really helped me, and I'm excited to apply these lessons in future interviews. So for our third milestone, we did a derivative problem. And this is my problem. My scenario was on a patient experiencing anxiety and how his symptoms decrease as treatment progresses over several weeks. For this project, I thought it was interesting and helpful that we had to put our work into the webpage here, because sometimes when I learn different things, I forget how to do things that we've already learned. So I can go back here and look at how I got the derivative. And this is numerical examples to plug in my function and my derivative. For a critical point, I thought it was interesting to learn about because I haven't heard of it before this class, and it's the point in my scenario where the rate of improvement in anxiety symptoms transitions from increasing to decreasing. And it made me think about how in the future, whenever I become a psychiatrist, I can identify the critical point in different scenarios and different treatments that I'm doing. Same for the inflection point. I haven't heard about it before this class, so I thought it was interesting because in the future I could apply it to real life problems. And this is my graph of the derivative, and you can see how the anxiety is reduced over time. Our fourth milestone was on Riemann sums and FTC. So in this, my scenario is also psychiatric treatment, and by approximating the area under the curve, the total improvement in symptoms can be determined. And this was my function. So this is the graph of the function, and as you can see, as time progresses, the rate of improvement accelerates, meaning that the child is experiencing faster recovery the longer they undergo treatment. And this is the table that corresponds with the rate of improvement and the months of treatment. My left-hand sum was 49.202 and my right-hand sum was 61.050, and I averaged those two to get 55.126 to get a more balanced approximation. And this is what my left hand sums graph looks like. This is my right hand sums graph. And this is my where to find the antiderivative. Similarly with the last milestone, I thought that having work here also helped me remember how to find the antiderivative when I need a refresher sometimes. And this is the work to find the exact area using FTC, which I got 54.76. This is also the graph of the exact area. And during this milestone, I found that while Riemann sums can give an estimate, using FTC is more precise and reliable for tracking the overall progress of the child's mental health. And one of the things that I fixed that I got feedback on was when I was talking about the difference between my Riemann sums and FTC, I only included the first 3 paragraphs under this header, and I didn't include the numerical value, which I included in the last paragraph here. So for Riemann sums, it was 55.126, while using FTC, we found the exact value of 54.76, and we had a difference of 0.366, which shows how while Riemann sums is very close, using FTC is more accurate, and using Riemann sums can introduce small errors depending on the number of step sizes used. And this is just the definition of all my variables and units I used in the calculation and in the scenario. In our 5th milestone on differential equations, my scenario was very similar to the previous milestones, where this equation models how a child's emotional health changes over time on a scale of 0 to 100, where 86 represents the points per week that therapy has a constant positive impact on emotional well-being, and the negative 0.4y represents the reduction of the child's emotional health as it gets closer to a maximum score of 100. And these are my explanations of the rate in and out with the definition of the variables. So for this project, I thought it was really interesting because it reminded me of when I took AP Comp Sci in my senior year of high school, and I was pretty passionate about computer science, so it was really fun to get to do that again, even though it was like just changing a couple of things. But here you can see the graphs and how just changing H to 2 and H to 4, you can see the difference in the step sizes and how accurate they are. So for equilibrium, the score of 215 indicates that as time progresses, the therapy will stabilize and there will be no further improvement. So when you look at the graphs, both of these graphs, as the y value gets to 215, you can see that it starts to plateau and there's no further improvement. And over here as well, for the blue line, you can see that there's no further improvement, as well as the red dots that are very inaccurate towards the blue line because the step size increased. For my reflection, throughout this project, my career path and my ideal job and aspirations stayed the same, but I learned a lot. Before this project, I didn't really think that, math had anything to do, well, I knew that had something to do with my future career, but I didn't think that it could help me learn about all this new stuff that I will experience in the future and how math would be incorporated a significant amount in my future. For the interview process, that really helped me learn my weaknesses and strengths in, communication and how that can make or break my future. Especially during an interview, I have to know what I'm talking about and everything. And this project helped me connect calculus into real-world scenarios, which I've never really thought of before, especially with the mathematical tools and the structured ways to analyze patient progress and coding and everything overall. in like overall, the project deepened my understanding of how calculus is applied to my field, as I said, and it was really rewarding to see everything on the final website come together because we've been working on it throughout the entire year, and it's something I'm excited to show in the future, all my hard work on this thing that is I can actually use in the future and not just like exams and stuff. So I'm really proud of my progress and excited to continue learning.